Simapuri, on the periphery of Delhi, yet far away from it. Periphery means outskirts. Now the writer describes the area where these ragpicker boys live and also gives us a vivid description of the life of the ragpickers. The author's contact with the barefoot ragpickers, and after being familiar with them, one day she went to the place where they live. The name of this place is Simapuri and it is located on the outskirts. Outskirts, as you all know, describe the outer edge of a city or a town, farthest from the center but still technically part of that place. It is it is far away but it is technically a part of that place. Now, Simapuri is a place where these slum children live and it is located on the outskirts of Delhi. But this place is very different from the main city of Delhi. Simapuri is on the outskirts of Delhi, the capital city of India, a progressive city, a city full of lights where everything is developed. So it is expected to be developed. So Simapuri is also expected to be developed with all facilities. Unfortunately, it is miles away from it, not in terms of distance, but in terms of facilities. This place, in spite of being on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it, metaphorically, means in terms of facilities available in the developed city like Delhi, this place is far away from all the benefits of the city. In Simapuri, which is situated on the outskirts of Delhi, there lies a different world where lives of the people are pathetic. People are surviving only by rag picking, mainly through garbage. People who live here are not fortunate to experience the benefits of city life that Delhi dwellers perhaps enjoyed. It is a slum area and people who live in Simapuri are squatters. What is the meaning of the squatters? Squatters means person or people who unlawfully occupies an uninhabited or unused building or land. They have migrated from Bangladesh. The people who live in Simapuri have migrated from Bangladesh in 1971. Sahib's family is also one of this family living in Simapuri. At that time, Simapuri was a wilderness, means it was an area of land where people do not live or grow crops, where there are no buildings. It is still an uncultivated and undeveloped land, but it is no longer an empty place. Why it is no longer empty? Now, because the squatters, the the uh, the people who have migrated from Bangladesh came and occupied the land because they have no other place to go. For more than 30 years, 10,000 ragpickers live in Simapuri, which is situated on the outskirts of Delhi. Now we will see the deplorable conditions of these people who live in the place Simapuri. The living condition in Simapuri is really pathetic. Simapuri is a slum area and people live in houses made of mud with roofs of tin and tarpaulin without any facilities of drainage, sewage and running water. Tarpaulin is a heavy waterproof cloth used as a protective cover or shelter. As you can see it in the picture, the blue waterproof cloth that is the tarpaulin. They lack of the main things and the basic amenities of life. They lived in unhygienic condition. It is a piece of wasteland where the garbage of the city is collected earlier. These people started living here illegally. This is an example of gross negligence of Delhi government as it has failed to do anything for the people of Simapuri. Though Simapuri is so close to Delhi, exists on the periphery of Delhi, but in terms of facilities like the basic amenities, infrastructure, advantages like education, proper facilities for living a clean and decent life are beyond the reach of the slum dwellers of Simapuri. Simapuri stands in contrast to the metropolitan city of Delhi. In Delhi, there are lots of opportunities which cannot benefit the people of Simapuri. In Simapuri, there is only squalor, dirt, and hopelessness. It is miles away from the highly developed and progressive city. And this highlights nothing but the economic disparity between the people of Delhi and the rag pickers of Simapuri. Economic disparity means economic difference, the financial difference that exists between the people of Delhi and the rag pickers of Simapuri. These people have been living illegally in Simapuri for the past 30 years without any identity card of their own or permits. Permits, which is an official document authorizing someone to do something, they do not have that also because they have migrated from another country and lived in the place of Simapuri illegally. They have occupied the area without government permission or ownership. The politicians of the areas have provided them the ration cards that give them the right to vote. Now, here comes the cunningness of the politicians who exploit them. With the help of the ration cards, they could buy food grains at cheaper prices to feed themselves and their family and could live a life without starving. And in return, they cast their votes in favor of the politician who had helped them. The politician doesn't help them because out of sympathy, they're helping them to get votes. So, in a way, they are being exploited without knowing it, unknowingly, by the politician who provided them the ration cards to buy food grains. Food is more important for survival than an identity. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. Say, a group of women in tattered saris when I asked them why they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers. So, here, food is more important for survival than an identity. Very important line. The people are not bothered about their identity, but they are only bothered. They are bothered only about food that they get with the help of the ration cards because it helps them to survive. So for them, what is more important? Getting food is more important for them than having an identity of their own. The writer asked a group of women who are wearing tattered means torn, old and torn, tattered saris, that why they leave their beautiful land of green fields and and rivers in Dhaka and living in such a pathetic condition. They replied that if they were able to satisfy the hunger of their families and sleep well at night without a hungry stomach, they were much happier to live in Simapuri than their fields in Dhaka, which were ruined by storms and gave them no food. The phrase aching stomach has been used to indicate the pain of hunger. If you have had food, then you will not have any aching stomach because you have a full stomach. Although their living condition is pathetic in Simapuri, but they could go to sleep with food in stomach. This condition is definitely better than starvation in their own native land. These people traveled in search of food, and wherever they find food, wherever food is available, they make their tents, which become their temporary homes, means transit homes, and they start living there. These homes can be moved from one place to a new place because they are temporary. They are migrants. They only come for they only come illegally, set their homes in a particular place because they were getting food, they were getting something, they were getting work to do, small work. So so they are so they make their homes temporary homes. That is what the narrator is trying to say. The children who grew up with them in the slums also do the same thing what the parents have been doing for years, that is rag picking. The children have innocently accepted their lot, accepted their elders, and become partners in survival. They also started doing the same thing. And survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Very important. If they have to survive, then they have to do rag picking and going and searching in all the rags and in all the waste heaps to find something along with the garbage. Through the years, it has acquired the portion of fine art. Here, the narrator wants to say that as the people in Simapuri have been doing it rag picking for many years, they have become experts at rag picking and do it very skillfully. Their nimble fingers and sharp eyes have become masters in scanning the heaps of the garbage and find out some valuable discarded things from this garbage. So, what is from this garbage? Garbage to them is gold. The literary device used here is hyperbole. So, we have also studied about hyperbole in class 11. It is a way of speaking or writing that makes someone or something sound bigger, better, etc. than they are. It's kind of exaggeration of something. The waste material thrown in the garbage are searched by these rag pickers and find something to sell. That is why it is like gold to them, something very valuable. For the rag pickers living in Simapuri, garbage was gold, as it provided them a place to live, their food, and helped them to survive. It appears to the writer, garbage has two different meanings, one for the elders and one for the children. For the elders, garbage is as valuable and it is their only means of survival because they earn their livelihood from them. We can see in our life, in our sometimes when we move around the streets, we can see how these rag pickers go around collecting empty bottles, plastic bottles, and other things, and they go and sell them and gain some money and earn some money. The people of Simapuri look for discarded items thrown away in the garbage, which are saleable, and through which they could get some money, meaning gold, to sustain themselves. With the help of those money earning by rag picking, they could buy their daily food. They get a place to live, a roof over their head, even it was a leaking one during rains. They do not bother because at least they have a shelter to live in. They do not bother because they have a shelter. At least they have a shelter to live in. They gather torn or damaged sheets which are used to cover the roof of their homes. But for children, garbage is much more than a source of living. For children, garbage is something wrapped in wonder. Wrapped means cover in wonder. I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note. Sahib says, his eyes lighting up. When you can find a silver coin in a heap of garbage, you don't stop scrounging, for there is hope of finding more. There is an excitement in Sahib's voice when he says to the writer that sometimes he finds a rupee and even a 10 rupee note if he is very lucky. While searching through the garbage heaps, his eyes light up with happiness and hope. He further says that when he finds something as valuable as the silver coin here means the 1 rupee, or a rupee or a 10 rupee note, he does not stop scrounging. He keep on searching for more. It gives him encouragement to search more. There is always a hope of finding something more in the garbage when he finds a rupee or a 10 rupee note. For the children, scrounging through garbage was like looking for treasure. Sometimes they are lucky enough to find a rupee or a 10 rupee note in it, or even a pair of discarded shoes. And 1 rupee coin or 10 rupee coin encourage them to search for more things. Maybe other things that are discarded and we throw it like used toys, broken shoes, or beautiful, or because they are discarded and we throw them and they keep on searching those. And for them, those things are very valuable. They try to find excitement in scrounging through the garbage as they are always hopeful to find something interesting. Garbage is like a wonder heap for this for the children of Simapuri, because these children are deprived of everything in life. Whereas for the elders, it is a means of survival, providing them food and shelter. Life of the rag pickers of Simapuri is very miserable. They are suffering of abject poverty. Now, now we will see Sahib's love for the game of the tennis. One winter morning, the narrator sees Sahib standing near the fence gate of the neighborhood club, intently watching two young men playing tennis. Dressed in white, playing tennis. Intently means with earnest and eager attention. He just murmurs and says to the narrator that he likes the game. He is satisfied to stand behind the fence and watch the game of tennis. He also says that the gatekeeper allows him to go inside the club and lets him use the swing when there is no one around the club. Sahib's dreams are limited. He likes the game, tennis, and is just satisfied other play, watching others play. And he is convinced that the game of tennis is beyond his reach. He cannot or will not dare to aspire to play the game. He does not express any desire to play the game. He just only likes the game because he knew he would never be able to play tennis as it was something beyond his reach because he is stuck in his own poverty stricken world that seems to be never ending. These children also has dreams and desires, but they do not have the way to achieve them and fulfill their desires. The narrator also notices that Sahib is now wearing a tennis shoes that look strange over his discolored shirt and shorts. They look very mismatched. When the narrator looked at him in a questionable manner, Sahib explains her that someone gave them to him. In a manner of explanation, one of the shoes has a hole in it. It appears that these shoes were discarded by some rich boy as he did not want to wear them anymore, probably because there is a hole in one of them. On the contrary, Sahib is not bothered by this fact and has no problem wearing them as he could not afford anything better than that. He is happy and satisfied because for a person like Sahib, who remains deprived of even the basic needs of life, a pair of rejected shoes or thing become a source of happiness. He has walked barefoot for a long time, and for a boy who does not have a pair of shoes at all, and so to wear a pair of shoes, is one of them, even with a hole in one of them, was like a dream come true. For the people who are deprived of the things, even a shoe with a hole was like a dream come true. So it was like a dream come true for people like Sahib. The moment he got the discarded shoes, he thinks that his dream to own a pair of shoes has come true. Sahib's dream of wearing shoes has been partially fulfilled, but unfortunately, the tennis game which he has been watching so intently is out of his reach. There is no chance for him to go inside the club and play along with the men who are playing the tennis inside the club because tennis is somehow describing a standard of living, but being born in a slum area and living a life of poverty, it is not possible for him to play this game or even aspire to play this game of tennis. Now Sahib got a job. As we draw close to the part 1, we witness a drastic change that come upon in life of Sahib. The narrative ends with the changes that have come upon in the life of Sahib with time. One day in the morning, the narrator met Sahib, who was on his way to the milk booth. He was holding a steel canister. He is no longer a rag picker. He informs Jung that he now works in a tea stall, which is at the other end of the road. He is paid 800 rupees a month and is also given all his meals. The narrator asked him if he likes the job, as she could see and realize that he has lost his innocent and the carefree look. Before that, he used to be in the group of rag pickers, moving freely with no stress. They do not even bother. They didn't have any money. He at that time had that carefree look, but now he was looking little maturer. He is now taking a responsibility. He is now earning 800 rupees. So he had to be responsible towards his job because he is shouldering the a work and supporting his family financially. The steel canisters seemed heavier when compared to his plastic bag which he used to carry over his shoulders because the canister belonged to the owner of the tea shop for whom he is working now. He is now accountable, means and answerable to his master and was bound by his rule. And the bag that he used to carry on his shoulder as a rag picker belonged to him. Sahib is no longer his own master. He is now working under someone else. And that is why it was like a burden for him. He was burdened by responsibility. The job was a responsibility more than he could handle at this tender age. He has lost his freedom. Earlier, he was his own master. He did whatever he wanted to do and was not controlled by anyone else. But now he had to bear the burden of responsibility imposed by his master, means the owner of the tea shop. He could he could no he could no longer do anything as he pleased. He is no longer a free bird and a master of his own self. He has now become a slave in the hands of the poverty. He has to now shoulder responsibility of his poverty-stricken family. He is now getting 800 rupees, which is a good amount of money, but that came with lot of responsibilities as he had to do a proper work. Although he is getting 800 rupees a month to supplement the income of his family, but he does not seem to be happy working at the tea stall as he has lost his independence and his carefree look, which he had earlier as a child. And eventually he has lost the spring of his life, which is childhood, and now and was now burdened with responsibilities. This is the pathetic condition of these poor slum people at this time when he should have been carrying a school bag, going to school, playing there, getting to learn things. But instead of a school bag, he is now holding a steel canister and is now started working early in life, shouldering the responsibility of his job.